Tavern Talk, Episode 2. There's a lot of stuff. Some of this stuff isn't really important, but I'm going to try and decipher some of this here. So first, over here on the right side, we got, this is the community. They were talking about Grayson being more active in the community. As you know, Grayson's been, well, you guys probably don't know, but he's been a lot more active with us Balladeers. We've been sending him pictures and videos of cheaters, armed tiers, all kinds of stuff. And just this week alone, he's banned like a ridiculous amount of people. So they're getting more active with cleaning up the dungeon and stuff like that. They talked about essentially they need to try new things up. SDF said that, you know, they started to acknowledge that SDF is a little bit controlling, and he said he doesn't want to micromanage, but he felt like he needed to, because at the early state of IronMace, you know, they don't really have money to waste, and, you know, he was scared that issues were going to go wrong, and so he just wanted to take charge of everything, essentially, and he wanted to have full responsibility if anything went wrong. But now he's understanding that that's an issue, so they said that they're just going to, fuck it, we ball, and they're just going to let people go crazy, and if they make a mistake, it is what it is. Yeah, ignore that. Terry was not talking about spit and verse. Combat. Okay, so they said something really important. I believe they're going to be working on this patch. Well, first let's talk about wipe date is... What was wipe date, boys? Let's see. What was wipe date? April 10th, I believe it was? Yeah, April 10th. So I think in the meantime, they're working on fixing the movement, blocking longsword. This is high priority for them. They said, actually, the patch going out today, bunny hop should be gone. They said they fixed it. They're very confident that this is fixed. But as far as the blocking portion of it, it's a little tough depending on your latency and where you're at and stuff like that. They're still working on that. Yeah, they're working on that stuff. And they kind of like talked about opening up different, you know, the abilities for different classes to be able to have different movement. I'm kind of just like, it's hard to say what they kind of meant, because they were kind of like beating around what they were trying to say, but they said, you know, I just assumed what they were talking about was like Electro Dash with like Sorcerer and Panther dashing. The movement tech is insane, so I think they're working on adding more movement style to a lot of other different classes, pretty much. Yeah, this is just talking about SDF, blah, 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 he's yapping. The core, okay, this is huge. This is an important part of the game. So they admitted that they were neglecting like the core part of the gameplay, and that's where things started to really get messed up. So they said now they're more focused on the foundation of the game. And then once again they talked again about how SDF and Terry have different play styles. You know, SDF's more competitive, he likes the more hardcore PvP, and Terry's more of like the dungeon delving, you know, fantasy stuff like that. So, you know, they were just still talking about how that was an issue, but they're working on it. Oh, this is another huge thing. I guess they have the numbers, and they dropped the numbers, I believe, in the announcement. Was it the announcements or somewhere that they said 50% of the player base are normal still? So they pretty much said that they've given up on trying to force normal players into going to HR. So the huge thing they're doing is they're going to make HR more hardcore, and I think they're adding more things to normals to make it more dungeon delving, more friendly. So for this is something they confirmed. For HR, they confirmed that the circle is coming back. I think it is on this patch today, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's exactly what they said, but we'll find out here in a little bit. But yeah, they said the storm is coming back for HR, so get ready. You have to find your portals again. I'm not really sure how this is going to work with the statics. Is there still going to be statics around, like in ruins and, you know, yeah, I wonder how that's going to work. Are they just going to remove all the static portals, keep the actual statics? Because actually, now that I think about it, in Crypts there's no static blues; they're all portals. So they could keep the static reds, but have the random portals that spawn like back in the old days. Yeah, but then again, on Ruins there's still the static blues. So I wonder how they're gonna do that, but we'll see. I'm guessing this is what I think. I think they're gonna keep the static blues and reds on Ruins, since that's kind of like the first start of the map. It's like the beginner friendly. Then Crypts and Ruins, since there's no static blues, they're gonna have the randomized portals with the static reds. Especially for Crypts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Things that they're really working on right now. B-hopping, like I said, they're fixing that on this patch, supposedly, and they're very confident about fixing hot swapping. They were talking about that. So it's super important to them as well. They understand it's an issue. So, They were talking about how fixing up like the foundational problems with like the movement and the blocking and just the melee mechanics that'll speed up their content production. I think they were talking about that. I'm not really sure how that makes any sense, but that's pretty much that. Other than that, yep, we already talked about that. Okay, they were talking about, well, certain weapons have different melee animations, right? Because, you know, like the felling axe doesn't have a right click, it's just a left click. And they said, yeah, they're thinking about it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. They just said they're thinking about it. So they're working on it, they're thinking about it, but I think they have too many things that they need to focus on first before they can start doing like that. Like the foundational part of the combat they need to get down, like the movement speed changing with b-hopping, because then they're gonna, since b-hopping's gone, they're probably gonna have to adjust casters in a certain way, otherwise they're just gonna get slammed, because you can't b-hop out of the way. So you're just gonna get caught by all melees, especially if you don't have like ridiculous amount of move speed. They talked about how the loot table for HR needs to significantly increase since the storm's being added. But they said they're not gonna do that right away. They're gonna have to gradually start to do that. So that's not gonna be an immediate thing, but that is something that they address and needs to be done, because obviously they said right now the risk reward is just not it. Like, they said when you go in there, the risk reward is just not it. It's gonna be super risky, and so yeah, if you're not ready for it, probably stay in normals till they start updating the loot table. Will they be updating the monsters? Okay, they were talking about the monster system, and they were talking about Evil Eye and stuff like that. Essentially, they have to create an actual monster system, because I believe that the current monsters that they have, like the Goblin and the Troll and the Cyclops, stuff like that, were actually assets that they just bought on the store. So they actually have to get a programmer to create unique mobs and monsters, right? But they also have to remake all the old assets. So that's something that they're working on. That's a huge thing that is probably going to take a lot of time. I doubt we're going to see that this season, maybe even next season, but that's something that needs to be done. Somebody was asking about multiclassing, subclassing, will it return? He said he's always thinking about it, but once again, there's too many major issues right now, so that's on the back burner. They can't even think about subclassing or multiclassing, and he knows everyone hated multiclassing anyway. They talked, oh, this is a huge one. So, you know the market crashed right now, right? Skull keys are what, fucking 12, 13K? They were saying, you know, thoughts on the religious skin being too overpriced and the gold sync just being too much. And they said, yeah, it was too much. They missed the mark. They just said they took an L, pretty much. And they said next wipe, they're going to do better. That's pretty much it. Oh, another big major change. They said for next wipe, I'm pretty sure they confirmed this. They said next wipe, the first 4 weeks, there will be no market. It will be the old school trading on the Gathering Hall, and that's it. So that will increase the progression reward, essentially. Skull keys just sold for 9K. Holy shit. Knocked it out of the park with this communication? Yeah, W. Absolutely. Keys are used for gold storage. It's not worth running. Okay, do they have any plans on making them more sustainable? Yes. Wait. Well, this is... they acknowledge this, right? They understand that the keys are just used for storage right now. But they didn't really give a concrete answer. I don't think they're going to do anything right away about keys, to be honest. I mean... Odin was talking about suggesting that the keys become like account bound and stuff, but they said with the risk reward being so ridiculous right now, you know, it's just going to stay this way until they adjust the loot pools for the piles, I'm guessing, or if they decide to add anything into these actual key rooms. That's pretty much it. This is funny. People were asking about quality of life, inventory management, and the gold storage, and they're just like, I don't know. It's important though. So yeah, whatever that means. Yeah, and that's pretty much it as far as everything they were talking about. They didn't talk about Druid being completely broken. They didn't talk about solos to trios, balancing. They didn't talk about any of that. The only other thing is they started off like the first hour talking about what's been going on with the lawsuit. Kind of boring stuff. All of the pretty much important thing they said is last week they put an appeal. They put in a formal appeal to Nexon for the lawsuit. Because they said they think it's unjust, but they also said that they saved up a war chest for paying out the Nexon lawsuit. So they said they're okay on money. He didn't say that. Yeah. That's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The Q&A. They didn't get to ask too many questions. At least important questions I want to hear. Seemed like they were beating around the bush a little bit, but what can you do? Yeah, they were talking about a lot, like a long time. They were just talking about the lawsuit, which I understand is important. They need people to understand, because it kind of looks bad from their perspective, since they lost part of the lawsuit. They're probably you know, people are probably thinking like, oh man, they stole the trade secrets. Oh, that was another thing. Hold on. I had another. Okay, I don't know where the notes section is, but I'll just tell you based off my memory. Essentially, they said they lost the lawsuit. Oh no, this is right here. They lost the trade secrets information, and they said it's separate from the materials. So they said basically their memories were the trade secret. So then just working on it, in having an idea about the game, like learning certain aspects of P3 is technically trade secrets. So that's how they lost, which they think is bullshit, and that's why they want to appeal that, because that's not just like, I don't know, ideas cannot be a fucking trade secrets a fucking violation. It's crazy. I don't know. That makes no sense to me. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I forgot to mention here. They were talking about arenas. They were talking about potentially facilitating tournaments per region, doing cool stuff like that. They pretty much just took an L on their MMR. They just said they completely cooked it, and they're gonna have to redo it. So there's that. They updated all the arena maps, so they should be a lot better. Essentially, the SDF wanted to test out like the tighter quarters of combat. That's why this last patch of arena maps were just completely dog shit. Or at least some of them were. So they said they updated them, and they're much better. The arena rewards, they said since it's still in testing that it's not going to be until next season. That's pretty much that. Also, April 10th is wipe date, if I didn't already say that. And then they also, Odin at the end talked about how there's going to be a cockatrice merchant. So that'll be interesting. If you want more in-depth, or if you just want to listen to it, their VOD should be updated on the IronMace's official Twitch, or you can go back in my VOD. We pretty much went over the entire thing, 2.5 hours on my YouTube stream, if you want to actually listen to every single thing they said. But yeah, that's pretty much it now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.